Good evening. This is Lila's Bedtime Stories with Dean Bell. I'll be reading from Book 6, Your Dream Visions by Duane, the Great Writer. Until one learns to be very objective about what they are dreaming, it is difficult for them to see what is taking place with their unseen world. And so the real guidance is always there for those who pay attention to the instructions. I'm going to ask right off, what does Duane mean by you must be objective about what you're dreaming?
Maybe our guest Tim from Oregon, you have an idea about what Duane means by being objective when you're dreaming? Are you there, Tim?
Yeah, I'm here. I had the same question as Lila.
Okay.
What's objective mean?
I just see it as sitting back and watching the scene like you're watching a film on TV or a movie, and instead of being absorbed in the action, you're sitting in the seats in the auditorium, and you're from an objective viewpoint more. If you can separate yourself somehow and see it possibly from another viewpoint. And Duane talks about that too, about seeing it from other people's viewpoint, and just in general practicing seeing it from maybe like even a bird, like what does he see, from the air, or a cat, how does he look from the ground? So practicing seeing things from different viewpoints and how others see it, that may give a clue.
Okay. Thank you. I think that was pretty clear. This is the idea of being like children. All of us have workable attitudes. This is the idea of being like children. All of us also have dreams and visions or waking hours that we may or may not recognize. I am shown things all the time along the lines I have chosen, which is presenting real truth to the world. I'm not referring to the words I write, because the spoken and written words can only be a good reference to real truth, as real truth is what the all is and all that it entails. Sometimes I will see certain letters or numbers on a license plate or a large advertisement on the side of a bus, or from people talking as they walk by me. The more a person learns to live each moment, the better of their life will be, as they learn to pay attention to the wonderful simplicity of living now. All life is here and now, and we are all in the same life together. And so, the here and now can never be anything else. As we realize this and bring our real awareness into this pleasant nowness, we then start to perceive so much more about ourselves and what else is taking place around us. And Dean Val, would you please explain perceive?
Perceive, okay.
Yes. Nowness, we then start to perceive so much more about ourselves and what else is taking place around us. To perceive something. That's a biggie.
Yeah. How is that related to recognition, which Duane uses quite often too? I see it, they're similar but a little bit different. I'm not exactly sure how, but there is something about perception, that is similar to recognition. They're both different than knowingness or knowledge or any of these things like wisdom. It's more real. In a real sense, you're seeing something that's real, or that doesn't change. The isness. It's sort of like coming across something that always has been there all along. You haven't seen it before, so you're perceiving it. It's hard to answer that one. I'm not sure what the exact difference would be. I think there's a subtle difference, but I don't know. Maybe Tim has an idea.
Okay.
Well, I was just...
Pardon me. Go ahead, Tim. What'd you say?
I was just looking up the word perception in the dictionary.
Good.
And they start off with the act of perceiving or the ability to perceive. Mental grasp of objects, qualities, etc. by means of the senses, awareness, comprehension, insight or intuition, or the faculty for these. The understanding, knowledge, gotten by perceiving, or a specific idea, concept, or impression. There's so many words, and then you have to understand what each of those words mean to understand what they're trying to say it means.
Yeah.
Okay.
So perception, they used impression, they used more like intuition. So maybe you perceive something that's there, but maybe you don't recognize it yet. You just perceive it, but the recognition is more of a fullness, and perception is maybe a hint. I'm just guessing. Maybe Lila has a thought on that.
Well, maybe. This is what Dwayne says. There can be a difference between the waking and sleeping dream visions, and that is a perception of the two different areas. As we look over human history, we can see the struggle of the human person as they have evolved over the course of many lifetimes. The real struggle been to wake up to what is really taking place as the whole of life is staring right at us. Today, with all the experience and information that we have available to us, there is a greater opportunity to finally understand what the real, true reality, not the gods of man, is trying to share with us. There is no other way than to be a real risk taker and dare yourself to explore the unknown with the real guides. A person can have great intellect like Einstein, but it is not the intellect or the literal sense that one will perceive real truth. Then occupy that position. The geniuses of the world are lost to the true reality, as they mainly live in their egos and not their perceptive heart. The mind of man creates conceptions to go by, which actually act as barriers in their own way to the real light. Unless the ideas are along the lines of assisting the all is with what it is a huge course for anyone to perceive beyond their intellect and even their intuition, to finally be able to recognize real truth and then live in it totally. Wow.
Paul said, I believe Paul said, that if you can perceive it, you can conceive it. So it's partly, if you can perceive it's there, that's the beginning of either manifesting something, conceiving of it, or going on and recognizing it, possibly. That's just a little guess, but if you can perceive it, you can perceive that something there. It's not knowledge. It's more along the lines of intuition or impression. If you can perceive it, then you can recognize it. Go ahead and recognize it, or do something in creation and use it as to manifest something.
To learn about something, simply start paying attention, and one suddenly gets to a college course with their life for free. As I am writing this section, I took a ride on my beach cruiser, and as I approached the Pacific Coast Highway, the signal once again changed for me without my pushing the button, because the crossing button must be pushed for the signal to change. So in other words, you've got to start to do something for the is. That's pushing the button.
Yeah, I know what he's talking about. I know that cross light there on PCH and Huntington Street.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I go there quite often. I cross the street, and you do need to push the button for it to change. So you're right, Lila. Yeah, you have to do something.
Yeah. This experience happens every so often, and I know it is the boys doing it. Everyone will have their own experiences, and for the most part, even though what we are experiencing here in this passing dream, the real experiences we are having are from our direct connection to the real universal guides. Every moment is being in the gift, which is really the recognition of the all is in its awareness. As one stands with the is, they are taken care of in their own way. That's kind of comforting, very comforting, really. It is not that we will be perfect in any way, but we must have the greatest heart and intent for what is real, as this is a type of building realism we make for ourselves. This is why very few ever find the all is, because they will not learn to, first of all, recognize it, then step wholeheartedly into the entire experience of it, and be willing to have its way as it pours out all its love to us. Most people will cling to their invented ego and personal self and hold themselves with fear as they hide in a dark corner somewhere in their mind. Some people do become confused for a while about their dream visions and their physical life. It is really so simple because all of us are living the same life. It just depends upon how we're viewing what we are experiencing. All of us have been brought up through a process of distorted educational conditioning, as opposed to a relationship with the actuality of reality and how it applies to our life. So we have to start our journey outside of what we have always come to agree to. And so it takes a while to adjust. This is where the hidden side of the real you tries to gently expose itself to one. Yet the personal self to be too rigid in most cases to accept this higher picture. If a person is a devout religious follower, and has accepted a huge amount of indoctrination about the faith that they believe in, for the most part, they will not be interested in the bigger picture because they have accepted a lot of conditioning to a particular arena and lifestyle. Now, if the same person starts to have extraordinary experiences, like I have with the real guides, then they may wonder about them, or even label them as devilish. As an example, not necessarily themselves thinking it so, but from all the intimidating information that they have been subdued with by the certain few. But if the same person is able to step aside their convictions and view their experiences from their heart, then they have a chance to expand from all they have been going through and come to know there is no doctrine or conditioning with the true reality and the endless positions in the real universes. All the certified stuff here in this realm and does not exist in reality. It's no different than the birds in the sky being interested in what the humans are doing. Sorry. The birds aren't interested in what they're doing because they're simply not interested. Because most people have been so doused with doctrines, rules, and regulations, and many times the constant burden of forcefully having to agree. It's no wonder that they may also consider their heavens to be the same. The two heavens of man are places in life, and not the whole of life. They are just like anywhere we live here. They are wonderful places, and I have been there many times, but they are not the ultimate. Anyone can learn to visit these places while they are still on earth in their dream visions, even though the belief system businesses say otherwise. Do you want to make a comment on that?
I think Tim did 10 minutes ago. Tim, do you have anything? Do you still remember?
Oh, I was just going to mention when Lila was reading about when Dwayne said that the light changed without him pushing the button. That I've had that experience myself. It's very shocking to have it happen because it's like a metaphysical thing. You don't understand how it could be. When the light changes or the walk light comes on when you haven't even pushed the button to go across the street. Mm-hmm. Anyway, wow. So that you really do think that the real guides may be showing you something if you know of them. And this, what Lila was reading about, stuff about the heart. And that's kind of what does the heart represent as a hint or a guide to an example of something?
Well, to me, it's the purity and sincerity. Heart is purity and sincerity. So.
Well, that's yeah, it's a drive. You with all your heart and soul, you want to do this, and you do it. That to me, that's what heart is. You know, it belongs to you, and you have this drive to find out what this is, and you love it, and everything about that is driving you to find out what this is. You're in it heart and soul, or certainly with all your eagerness and every part of you.
My drive is the gratitude, being shown more of the is. That's basically my motivation, is the gratitude. That what else do we have but our just to thank life by doing something to support it and to support the real guides. That's about all I can see to do.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're just back in the personal self.
Yeah.
And doing your, for the ego, but this way you're doing it for the whole of life.
That's right. Above the two heavens of man are more levels in the psychic realms, and then past them is the most unbelievable universes one could never imagine. The round worlds of this material realm are such for the process of us to go through until we are ready to climb the mountain of the is. Your dream visions is the first step into these worlds and universes. When the real guides show up and begin to give a real experience in their dream visions, a person's dream structure begins to change for the better. And so at first, there may be a particular reaction according to how each person has been conditioned and brought through his life, as some will have it easier than others. Many people having real experiences with the real guides, but they need the outer information for their mind here to make the real connection. And so that is why I am writing this new presentation for all of those who are ready now